Okay, Haley, let's take a quick look at your model here. Let's take the first approach is for the part line around the buttons. So one of the things that I think is going to help is where you fused these in, or you merged them, is what we want to do is to get that simulated part line around there, or that gap like you did in this area. So what we'll do is we'll come back to these parts, we'll edit them, and we're going to just unmerge the results. And now since you mirrored a feature, what we need to do is we need to go back in and mirror. Oh, we need to mirror a body. So we're going to select this body. We'll select the right plane. Oh, it still wants features. We didn't actually get it to go with the body, so let's come back. Select the body. There we go. Oh, okay, so what we'll have to do is roll back and actually delete that mirror and redo it. It doesn't want to necessarily allow us to make the change. So let's just roll back. We'll put it here. We're just going to delete it. And then we'll go back and redo the mirror here. So we're going to go mirror, bodies to mirror. We'll select this body. Our planes we want to mirror. I believe you had it on the right. So there, we've got it there. We want to make sure we're not merging things again. That's off. So now what we want to do is we want to put that hole in there that's going to go around. So for that, we want to go in. So we're just going to go and draw a sketch on that face. And what we're going to do is, so we know we want it to be just a little bit bigger than that edge there. So along with that radius. So what we're going to do is we're going to offset entities. Whoop, nope, nope, not that. So let's hide this body first, just so we have it hidden. So we're in our sketch, and basically what we want to do is we want to take this face. Oh, come on, I don't know why your mouse is all over the place. We're going to take this, and we're going to offset that entity. Now we just want it to be very small, so we'll go 0.05. I'm not quite sure 100% if that's the right one, but we can just zoom in and look. And for what we want, maybe a little bit more. We'll call that good. So let's bring up the body again. And we're going to use this, and we're just going to go do a cut extrude using that. Now here's what we want to make sure we do. So because it's passing through this button and into the housing, it's going to assume we want to cut everything. So we want to turn off the select bodies or auto select, and what we want to do is come back and just select the body we want to cut. So if we hit yes, now you can see we've got those radiuses or that depth in there. So we're going to want to mirror this, but before we mirror it, we want to do as many commands as we can. Ooh. Let's make sure we get all the lines going around here. There we go. That may not be the right size radius or not. So now that we've got both those commands, now we can mirror those two features. So we'll come back again. We're going to go mirror. And this time we are going to go with features to mirror, but we want to add one in. So we've got the fillet. We want to add in the cut. Again, you got everything nice and set up with your plane, so that's excellent. It makes things easier. We'll go there, and we've got that. Now, what that does is it'll help us when we do our part break or our part line. So since we've got this here, we can do the part line now, or we could do it later. And there's multiple ways that we can actually do that. So let me just see where the model is at. Okay, so we're going to go back and we're going to do the part line. You know what? We're going to go and do the part line now. So at the very end. So one way to do this is, let's hide those buttons because we don't need those. So what you can do is do an extruded cut. Ooh, that fillet didn't mirror over, but I'll let you fix that. And actually, we're going to put that part line in prior. And I'll explain why here in a second. So the reason I want to put that part line in now is because this is going to give me the chance to just do a cut extrude all the way around. So in order to do the cut extrude, we need to do two things. We need to draw a path that it's going to go on, and then we also need to draw the actual shape. So for this, it's always easy. We just go to the right side. We're going to do a sketch on the right plane, and we can come in and just draw a square. We'll make it so it's right at the center, and you just create whatever size you want. Now we're just fudging this in, so we're not worried about being too precise. But now what I'm also going to do is I'm going to do another sketch, and I'll just do it on the right plane just for sake. And I'm just going to draw a line through the entire center. So we'll get it to be snapped in the center. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go exit out of this. We're going to go into our features. Let me see if it's in this feature that I want. So it's going to go insert features. And then, you know what? So we're going to go into surfaces. And what we're going to do, oh, hold on. Oh, sorry. Insert, curve, split line, or projected line. So we're going to do a split line. It's that sketch. We want to do it onto this surface, this surface. I don't know why your model is so finicky. So now we've got that right at the center. So now what we've got is we've got our, for our extruded cut or swept cut, we have a profile and a path. So we're going to select this as the profile, and then as the path, we've got multiple lines. So we want to right click and go selection manager. No, and it doesn't want to select that path. There we go. I didn't quite have that box selected like I thought I did. So we just want to keep going around, make sure we select all the edges. And there's multiple ways of doing this. We could have actually split the part into two and then did offsets. So here you see that it's going all the way around. Again, when you do a command, build and evaluate, so it looks like it's good. So now we've kind of got our fake part line in there. We can dump some quick little radiuses on it. Oh, not the face, but the edge. So there is a problem with your model that I'm noticing, that these are not tangent. So we'll take a look at that here in a few minutes. And the way I can tell that they're not tangent is here it's tangent because it's a dotted line. Here it's a solid line. So what we can do is take a quick look at that. I think I know what might be happening. So I'll let you add the radiuses to it yourself later. Now, if we move forward, part of the reason this is easy is it makes it nice and clean and simple for when we put our buttons back in, versus having to do a cut later. Okay, so there we've got that. Let's take a quick look. Let me just save here because I don't want it to. I don't like when it starts making weird yelling noises. Okay, so let's just take a quick look at this profile that you did. We're going to come back to your sketch. Okay, so here is the problem. If you zoom really close in, unless that's supposed to be kind of an edge here, that's the problem there, that this isn't lined up with the tangent of this, which means that's what's giving us this little jog here. So I don't know the design. If that's design intent, then that's fine. But what we can do is adjust it here quickly. And what we're going to do is we want to make sure if this line is dead at the center, which I don't think it is. So we are just going to take this and move it just a tad. You know what? We want to move the other way. So we're going to lock this and anchor it. And we'll take this line here. We'll get that there. Same as this, we'll move that to the center. And now what we're going to do is, just to help ensure, we're going to trim these lines up. So in our sketch, we're going to come to Trim Entities. And we don't need this. We don't need that inside circle, because all we really want to do is that profile. Oh, and we didn't quite get it there, it looks like. So we don't need that, we don't need that, and we don't need that. So we're still having a little bit of a problem there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go here and here, and we're going to say make that tangent. Same as old, well, it looks like it made it tangent because that's a mirrored thing. So now there shouldn't be a little seam there. So let's come back, we'll update. Now what we're hoping to do, just like you had over here, tangency, we want, there. Now we can see that we've got that tangency on this edge here too. And that's, I mean, it's a minor thing. It would actually show up if you were doing a rendering, and it would definitely show up if you were doing a 3D print. So That kind of helps us with the buttons here. Now, let me just scroll down your model, because one of the things you asked was what more could you be doing. You've got this gap between these buttons. Now, I went through, I wasn't quite sure what you did to get those or what to build it. But because we're doing a looks like model, we don't have to make things perfect. So what we can do is really quickly, this is down and dirty modeling. You know, it's not meant to be the world's best model that you're handing off to engineers. So what we can do is we can come over here and say move bodies. And it says what bodies do you want to move. So we're going to click that one, that one, that one, and then all of these. And then it's exactly what the command says. We're just going to take it, grab the Y arrow, and we're just going to drag them down a little bit. Just enough to get that in there. Doesn't need to be perfect, because again, this is going to be a rendering. Other things to kind of look at is, see here how you've clicked these radiuses to make them all nice and rounds? Well, you missed that in here. And that can be as simple as, when you go back and edit it, making sure that you select that edge. It's a little thing, but it makes it look a little bit nicer. And if other people are looking at your models and they want to judge your abilities, they'll see that you understand the details. Okay, so let's quickly go and do the text. So for this, I do need to come down and take a look at, because you did a lot of split lining here. So what I'm going to do, and it looks like you put that on, so I'm going to delete your split lines. Oh, there. Let's see if that's going to give me what I want, because I still want to keep the sketch. There we go. Okay, so the nice thing about SolidWorks is you have the sketch. And what you can do, if that sketch is on this face, all you need to do is come in and go extrude, because I'm not sure if this is a sticker or if you're trying to do raised letters. So let me just see something. NES controller. Not the NES, is it? Super Nintendo. Okay, so it's not raised lettering you're trying to do. Okay, so then for the split line, there's a couple different ways that you can do it. So in here, what you can do is you've got the split lines. Or you know what? Let me just read your email again here to make sure that I'm doing what you are looking for. Getting all the text to fill in. Is it just on the surface and has a split line applied to it? Okay, got it. So here's what you want to do with this. So what we've got is we've got the model ready, and applying graphics, applying logos, we would do in Keyshot. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to send it to Keyshot. Let's get that opened up. While that's opening up, I am going to find a Nintendo logo. And there, that looks like the one that you've got. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to save this to my desktop. Okay, so you can kind of see where you've added those different color materials in. And that's one way of doing it. One of the problems with that is if we come to a material, and let's just grab a material, we're just going to do a plastic. We'll just do, I believe it's a shiny, hard shiny, and then we're just going to make it white. Whoop. Let's actually just grab just the, we'll select just the body. We're going to make it white. And then with that, what we're going to do is edit that property, because what we want it to be is just a little gray. So we're going to take the diffuse and drop it down gray. Now the nice thing is, I think I mentioned this to you before, we're going to come in here and go SNES controller. We will pull this image up, and what we're going to do is we're going to, hold on. So I'm going to set that over the other screen, but what I'm going to do is go over to that window and grab it to make it slightly that color. Now your model also has some texture on it, so we can do a lot with the shader. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of a texture. So here we want bump, and if you right click, it shows textures. For most things we do a noise, and that just gives us a fine light texture. So you can see here how bumpy it is. So what we want to do is we want to scale the size of the texture, and we're just going to make it 0.5. And now you can start seeing that the texture is getting a little bit smaller. Then maybe lower the bump height to 0.05. And then we'll make this 0.1. Let's go 0.2. So we want to get just, and you can kind of see just a fine little bit of texture. So again, this is kind of why what we want to do is to have that material sitting there so that we can look at it. Because now you can kind of see that this is way too shiny. So what we want to do is come back to our shader. Oh, let me just get this so I can look at it on the screen and you can see it. So we're going to come back, we're going to go to our properties, and if you notice, our specular, the way our highlight is extremely high in comparison to this. So we're going to take that from a white and we're just going to bring it down a little bit so that it's not nearly as shiny. Then what we're going to do is we're going to adjust the reflection. So you can see here, it does a greater job, or it reflects highlights greater, light greater. Here it's kind of a little bit more softer. So that's what we want to do. We just want to get a little bit of softness in there so it's not fully dark. Now you can see over here the shape is different, so we're not going to get that exact contour. But let's just add some roughness. And what that just does is it just breaks up the surface just a little bit so that we can get some lightness. Now, part of this is also the lighting in the scene. So, but back to what we wanted to do. So now we've adjusted the shader, we've done properties, we've done a texture. Now what we can do is we can do labels. Labels are exactly that, they're graphics. So what we're going to do is we're going to start and go to a top view. And we're going to camera, standard view, top. Again, you did a great job of setting up the shaders, or the planes, so that when you go in another software package, it makes sense. Then what we're going to do is, I just like to make the camera so that it's orthographic. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to add a label. It's going to ask me for what label do you want to add, where is it? Let's go to our desktop here. We're going to go Super Nintendo. We'll open it. And here you can see it automatically tosses it right on. Not necessarily in the orientation that we want. So this is where we can do a variety of things. We're going to first rotate it. Let's minimize this so we can actually see the bars. So we didn't quite get it at 90, so we're going to go -90. Now, just like in many software, we can adjust the width and the height, and we can link it together. So now what we can do is just kind of scale it down to get it to be the size we want. And then we can also move the texture. So we'll select Move. So here's the problem, is that we assigned it to this material that's on here. That's a different material, so it won't snap to it. So we're just going to place it up here. Let us also, we want to do an opacity because we want to make, let's just hit that, we want to make the white part be invisible. So what we're going to do is we can use that exact same texture. So we're going to hit Control and select it, and then what we can do is take that, oh, not Control, Shift, select it, and you can drag that over here to opacity. So you can use the same thing. Now, if we look at this, what it does is everything that is black, it turns invisible. Everything that is white, it leaves. So we don't want that. We want to flip it. So here we can go under Opacity Map Mode, we can go Inverse Color. So now what it's doing is whatever is black stays, whatever is white becomes invisible. That's how the mask works. So that's really the best way to apply labels or, you know, what is pad printing, and it's going to give you that look. If you're doing raised or embossed lettering, then that would be a slightly different approach, which, let me just see something here. Okay, so your select and start buttons are embossed. So let me go back to SolidWorks and show that to you. So what we're going to do, and what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to find this split and we're going to delete it. Oh, that blew everything up. So we're going to leave it. Can I suppress it and not hide everything? Nope, I still lose everything. Okay, so we'll leave it for now. But what I'll, here, let's just go Control Z, and get it all back. So what we're going to do here is just select the sketch and we can extrude it. So when you lay that in as a sketch, it's no different than any other sketch you do. You can then extrude it. So let's just leave that alone. I don't know, there we go. So, and then this is something where, you know, you want to spend the time to get those highlights, and I'll show you why, to put the radiuses on. So we're just going to quickly go here, and we're just going to select all the faces. Sometimes that can be quicker. No, I don't. Yeah, and I'll show you what the difference there is with that. So now the nice thing again, we're going to come over to our SolidWorks. We're just going to hit Update Keyshot. We'll bring back Keyshot here. And now you can see we've got that raised material. Probably still want to drop those down a little bit lower, and we can get that in there. So, and you can see that that gives it, when you're looking at this, that gives it considerable more depth than a cutout or a split surface. So it's really bothering me that this material is such a weird purple that it came out of. So I just want to go back. We're going to go, we don't want to go label, we want to go to properties. And that's part of the reason I'm way over on the blue spectrum. So it needs to be a little bit on the blue, but not as much as I had it. That's a little bit better. So, and again, you know, as you go on with all these things, as we talked about before, you know, you start adding your buttons. And then you can do a quick render through there. So for you to continue, I would love to see these all raised. As you work on this, get your logos in there that are pad printed. Lower these buttons so that they're the right height. And then sometimes we'll do a quick rendering here, because sometimes this you don't need to worry about. It's fragmentation in the shader. So let me just do a quick rendering. We'll see if that's it. So we'll go render. I'm not too worried about where it's going, what it is, because I'm just going to delete it. Let's go my options. We're going to go GPU mode and render. I don't know where it's popping up. There it is. Okay, so we do have what appears to be some tessellation in there. I'm not sure what that is. If that's something that is in your SolidWorks model. So let's take a quick look. Okay, we'll see if we can troubleshoot that here quickly. Oh, yeah, it is. It's in your model here. Let's see if it's a performance thing. So let's go options. Oh, that came up on my other window. So I want to see if it's not a graphical thing. So we're going to come into options. We're going to go to performance, image quality, and we're just going to really turn that up. We're going to hit OK. There we go. So it went away. That surprises me that that would take it into Keyshot, but let's just see if that fixes it, because if it does, we'll have to share that with the rest of the class, because it's not something I've seen before. Ooh, live linking request rejected. Oh, because Keyshot is paused. Okay, so we'll unturn pause. Whew, that scared me. That scared me. Let's try that again. So there's our live link. And yeah, interesting. I will have to let the rest of the class know about that, because there we go. It's gone. So what I will do is I will save both of these parts for you, and I will share them so that people can play with them too. Let's go to desktop, SNES. Okay, we'll close that out. We'll save this. File, save as. We'll go to desktop. SNES. Let me just make sure that that's going to work since we're getting all these errors that are being yelled at us. Oh. So it looks like there was a problem with me saving your file. So I guess I can't give it to you. Let me just take a look at my download folder here and see if the one that I put in there worked. Okay, so there's a problem with the file. Not sure what happened, so I can't really share that with you. So I'll get this video recorded and set up and sent to you. Take care. Have a good night.